There's a new app available for men who are seeking other men for a bromance. It could be for friendship, or it could be if you're looking to experiment with your sexuality. Now, as you guys know, there's a lot of stigma associated with men who do experiment with their sexuality, but it's not the same for women. Women are thought to have more fluid sexuality. They're more likely to experiment with other women.
You said fluid.
You know what I meant.
Okay.
You know, if they do experiment with other women, they're not considered lesbian. They're just considered people who experimented, and then later on they remained straight. But men don't get that same privilege, right? So the BroApp is trying to combat that. Let me give you the details. The app gives men options to look for dates, chat, just friends, long-term bromance, or whatever bro. Nude photos are not allowed in an effort to cut down on some of the beef fest that is traditionally associated with gay dating apps, but the implication of hookup potential is high, with fields for disclosing your body type, height, ethnicity, HIV status, and bro type.
Oh, come on. No, I got to end this nonsense. Okay, this is strictly for gay sex, okay? Now, or bisexual sex. And there's nothing wrong with that, but don't pretend otherwise. Like, in an app where guys go, hey, bro, you want to hang out and maybe, you know, have sex with one another? Other guys are not going to go on there and be like, hey, bro, you want to hang out and maybe play Xbox? Or bro, whatever? No, that's not what they're going to do. Yeah. It's for sex.
So I agree with you on that. I think that it is what it is, and there's nothing wrong with it. But the issue is that you can't have an app fix a societal issue like the stigma that men face for experimenting with sexuality, right? That's a societal issue that we need to delve into, and we need to get rid of that stigma, because I don't think that if a guy experiments with another guy, he's automatically gay, right? And it's funny because with women, you know, they're just considered straight until they're like married to another woman, and then they're considered lesbian.
You're hooking out with girls, if you're a girl and you're hooking out with other hot girls in college, that makes you a good American. Okay, now.
This is my boss.
Okay. So now, look, I actually don't think there's anything wrong with the app. In an ironic way, I'm going to defend the app. I just don't like the BS false advertising of like, no, you could just go to a movie. You don't have to hook up.
I think
nobody's going to a movie with another dude on this app. Okay, that's not what's happening.
I think the reason why they're marketing it that way is so guys who are maybe a little confused and maybe a little unsure feel more comfortable signing up for something like this.
I know. You're right. I'm just like too vigilant about being honest about stuff, right? So now, but once you get honest about what the app is, which is, hey, look, there's already an app for gay guys. You don't need a second one. But there's a substantial niche here where you say, hey, I'm like the guy hasn't been experimented or is not openly gay and he just wants to try things. Or he's in a category which a lot of society refuses to acknowledge, which is bisexual, right? Because there's a lot of jokes, and God knows if I've made them in the past. I don't remember, but I might have because I was an ignorant knucklehead in the past,
you
right?
definitely have made those jokes.
Right, like, you know, you're probably right, right? So, like, dude, if you've done that once, you're gay, right? And the reality is, no, it's not always a pathway to being gay. Some dudes are bisexual. They have a little bit of sex with a guy. So, I mean, it's not for me, but it's for, so what? So what, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, including guys like Hugh Hefner, who in the past have admitted that in the swinging times of like when he was having sex with all those girls, and a couple of guys would slip it, right? Sorry, didn't mean the pun. Okay. And so, okay, have at it, Hoss. So you want to try this, and you're not ready for a hardcore, like, yeah, I'm totally gay, and I'll meet you at the gay bar, etc., and you want to ease your way into it, or this is exactly what you like.
Yeah.
And by the way, it appears like it's more for what they call, and people get pissed about this, now I'll defend the app against that too, masculine gay guys, right? So maybe that characterization is offensive to people, but you know what they're talking about.
Well,
I knew a couple of guys who were gay who are super into sports and hang out with the bros, right? And they don't, you know, one of the guys that I knew from Miami wasn't comfortable in the regular gay community, right?
Yeah,
in that sense.
You're actually bringing up a really interesting point and an interesting divide that I've personally noticed within the gay community, because of course, media likes to paint a certain picture of certain groups of people. So if you watch gay characters in television shows or in movies, they're all portrayed as effeminate, or they're portrayed as, what's the word, flamboyant,
Yes.
right? But there's a lot of gay guys that don't really agree with that. Like they don't agree that that's a correct representation.
It's
of
just
the
not
gay
who they are.
community. It's not who they are. So they feel underrepresented, was what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So the fact that this app is trying to address that as well is kind of interesting. But look, what I'm trying to get at is, at the end of the day, none of us are black or white. You know, we're somewhere on that spectrum. And so are there people on the extremes? Sure, but we fall somewhere on that spectrum. And this obsession with labeling people is driving me crazy, right? So if someone experimented with the same sex, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're gay. It could mean that they wanted to experiment, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, and another thing is, what if I decide one day, you know what? I want to have a threesome. I'm going to invite a woman to our bedroom, and I'm going to let her pleasure me. Does that mean I'm gay?
No, it means you're a fantastic person.
You like how I'm going to have her pleasure me, by the way?
Yeah, I like how you assume that, right? That's convenient for you, right?
And then she better stay the fuck away from my man.
So look, look, everybody's different. I remember the story from a million years ago. Sylvester Stallone is married to Brigitte Nielsen, and he comes home. This is the story, whether it's true or not, I don't know, right? And she's having sex with his hot secretary. Now, I think if that had happened to me, I would think I won the lotto, right? I'm like, how am I this lucky, right? But he was super pissed and immediately got divorced.
Yeah, look, I've dated guys who consider that cheating. If
Right.
you are caught making out with another woman, well, that's cheating, which I
Right.
think is really interesting because, you know, there's the pervy wankers like you who gets like super turned on by it, and then there are guys who feel like it's being unfaithful.
Yeah. I believe I represent all good Americans, true Americans, red-blooded Americans. Okay, so
A small thing, but also
Yes.
we did. There's the other side of that. There's women who catch their dude cheating with a guy, and it's the same thing. Like, you cheated. So I mean, we always say that guys are the ones that are so stringent with these rules that if a guy has his experimentation, oh, totally gay, and we're these Neanderthals. Women are the same way. They've been brought up in the same society, and they think, oh, you mean my man did that? Oh, he's totally not a man anymore. Women think that way.
A lot of women do. You're right. You're absolutely right about that.
in fact, you might have reformed your opinions on that. I don't know if you remember from way back in the day.
Absolutely. I used to think like that, and then I definitely changed. Because interestingly enough, I've come across a lot of guys who have been honest with me about experimenting, and I'm like, that's fine. Like,
Hey, it's a whole new world, man. And all it is not a difference in reality of what people's feelings are and what their identities are and what their preferences are. It's just a difference in how honest they are about it. So if this app in its own small way allows people to be more honest, or allows people to find people that are more like them, right? And they just want to watch a football game with a guy and then maybe hook up. Well, how about it, Hoss, right? And apparently this is the right place for you rather than going to a gay bar or whatever else that folks are doing on Grindr.
yeah. By the way, there should be, I'm sure it even exists, but like a friendship app where you're just genuinely looking for people that have similar interests as you. Yeah, look, I say that, but then I'm so busy I don't even hang out with my own friends. But sometimes, like, as you get older and you get sucked into your career and all of your responsibilities, you start losing friends. It gets harder and harder to meet people. It really does.
Well, a lot of the apps are about getting sucked in.